Hello, and today we're going to talk about static and equilibrium. So let's begin. So what are static and equilibrium? It is when the object is at rest and is in a state of balance. Then we can conclude that the object is at static equilibrium. Static simply means stable or at rest. So here are some formulas that we can use as we proceed in this lesson. So as you can see, there are some formulas that you are familiarized with based on the previous video that you've watched, in which F graph is still present, F up, F fric, and the coefficient of friction. Whereas F graph's formula would be F graph equals m times g, or mass times gravity. F perpendicular is equal to F perp equals to mg sine theta, and F perp equals mg cos theta. So kung tatanungin nyo, nasan na ang normal force na present nung previous video natin? So in this new lesson, hindi na tayo magbe-base sa mga flat surface in which the objects traveled with, or kung saan nakalagay ang object na yon. In which, in this new lesson, we will more focus on inclined planes. That is why F norm is also equal to F perpendicular. So let's proceed. F parallel's formula would be F para equals F up minus F fric. So bakit wala na nga ba ang net force? Tulad na itong F norm, net force would be equivalent to F parallel. Moving on, F up has a formula of F para equals F up minus F fric. So bakit nga ba ganito ang formula ng F up? Tulad ng sinabi ko sa inyo in the previous video, pwede tayong gumamit ng derivation of formula in which we can derive this formula in order to find the F up. So let's proceed. F fric's formula would be coefficient of friction times F perpendicular. And coefficient of friction's formula would be F fric over F perpendicular. So let's begin to our problem. A family travels to the mountain with a car that weighs 125 kilograms. Unexpectedly, they stop the car and go outside to see the view. If the mountain has an angle of 30 degrees from the horizontal surface, what coefficient of friction will be required to prevent the car from sliding down the hill? So first, we must need to find its given values, in which its mass would be 125 kilograms, its angle would be 30 degrees, and we need to find its F graph, its F perp or F perpendicular, its F para or F parallel, and its coefficient of friction. So why do you need to find these three? We need to find these three in order to solve for coefficient of friction. Now let's draw our free body diagram. So this will be our free body diagram, in which this would be the F norm, this will be the F parallel, this will be the F perpendicular, its F graph, coefficient of friction, and this will be our angle. So bakit nga ba ganyan ang diagram natin? Kagaya nga ng sinabi ko sa lesson natin, we focus more on inclined planes in which sinabi dun sa problem natin na ang mountain ay at a 30-degree angle. Kaya ganyan ang diagram natin in which this portrays the vehicle or the car of the family. So, let's go on solving. So let's start on finding the F-grab in which F-grab is equals to m times g or mass times gravity in which we need to input the values whereas 125 kilograms will be multiplied to 9.8 meter per second squared. That we will come up to a value of 1225 Newton. Then we will find the F perpendicular in which the formula that we will use is mg cos theta. We need to input the values. So ang ginawa ko rito ay shortcut method na in which hindi ko na ginanito at in-automatic na yung solution na lang ng F-grab ang nilagay ko rito. In which mg will be 1225 Newton will be multiplied to cos 30 degrees. Then we will have a value of 1060.88 or 1061 Newton. Now let's proceed. F-rig will be mg sin theta. So bakit nga ba ganyan yung formula? Kasi ito rin ang total net force na meron sa car. In which sabi dito, sliding down yung car. Kaya F-net, F-parallel, and F-rig ay pare-pareho lang. Now let's proceed on solving the problem. Kaya F-rig is equals to mg sin theta, whereas we need to input the values. 1225 Newton multiplied by sine 30 degrees will have a value of 612.5 Newton. So nakuha na natin ang F-graph, ang F-perp, at ang ating F-rig. So ang kulang na lang na kailangan kuhanin ay ang coefficient of friction, in which coefficient of friction would have a formula of F-rig over F perpendicular. Nakuha na natin ang values sa F-rig at nakuha na rin natin ang values sa F perpendicular. Now, we will input the values in this computation in which coefficient of friction is equal to 612.5 N over 1061 N. Cancel its unit. Therefore, we will have a value of 0.58 or 0.6. Therefore, we finished solving our problem, whereas the coefficient of friction of our problem or of the car would have 0.6. And that concludes our lesson. A little note that I will leave to you is that F perp or F perpendicular is equivalent also to F norm or normal force, and F parallel is equal to F net or it is equivalent to its net force. And that concludes our lesson. Thank you and see you later from our next video. Goodbye!